back when I was falling in love with Obsidian, the thing that I loved most about it was also the thing that I was most frustrated by, and that is local files. The reason is I love that they are my files. It's my data, lives on my computer. Nobody else needs to see them. Nobody else gets to own them. It's my information. Now, why is that a frustration? Well, that's because I've got two computers that I use all the time. I've got my work desktop that I use during the day, most days when I am home. Then I've got my laptop that I use in the evenings when I'm not at my desk and when I'm on the road, which is all the time. So how do I get my files that live locally onto two platforms? That was the biggest frustration that I had until I figured out how to do what I'm going to share in this video. Now, this could be a much shorter video because Obsidian now has Obsidian Sync, which you can pay something like $8 as of the time that I'm recording this without checking my notes. So if that number is wrong, mea culpa. However, you can get Obsidian Sync, and this is a phenomenal tool. It's fantastic. I just don't use it because I figured this way out. And before you say that I'm just cheap, I've actually bought Obsidian. I paid the $25 licensing or whatever it's called. I just love Obsidian so much that I wanted to support the developers, which is why I bought the extra awesome sauce. And now we're going to jump into the computer where I can do some screen sharing and show you kind of step by step what I figured out and how it all works. And let's get going. We are going to be using 3 programs to make this all work because I want my Obsidian database visible on 2 laptops and computers. And on top of that, I would like my Obsidian database to be encrypted. That's just extra gravy to me. And I want to show you how that all works. And to do that, the 3 programs we're going to use is Obsidian, Cryptomator, and Sync Thing. As you can see here, I've got my Obsidian open, and then over on this side, I've got Sync Thing here and Cryptomator here. Cryptomator is a program that will encrypt a file, a folder, an entire drive, and Sync Thing is a protocol that helps 2 computers talk to each other and keep things synchronized. When one changes over here, it changes over there. If it changes over there, it can change over here. Or any changes from this one can be reflected over here, but if you change it over here, it won't be reflected over there. All sorts of ways that you can do this. But the basic idea is that Obsidian works on just files and folders. So we use Cryptomator to encrypt our vault, and then we use Sync Thing to get that encrypted vault on both computers that we are working with. In that way, we have Cryptomator on both computers, and it's the encrypted vault that gets duplicated across both computers, and then you use Cryptomator on each computer to decrypt the information, and then any changes you make in your Obsidian database are connected through Sync Thing. And that's kind of how it works. I'll show you right now. Go to Cryptomator and download it. And you can see it's there for Mac. If you've got Mac OS 10.13 or an Apple Silicon, however you say that, if you've got the M1 chip or M2 chip, both work. And you can see that they've got it for Windows, Mac, Linux, Android, and iOS. So pretty much whatever operating system you're running, you can use Cryptomator with it. So you can download it, install it just like any other program. And when you install it, you can do this. I've paid for the dark version. I just like open source projects that are doing cool stuff. So I paid for the license to get the dark mode, but I believe this will still work even if you don't buy the snazzy license. But the basic idea is that you can go to Add Vault, and we'll create new vault and choose a name for the vault. We'll say Encrypted YouTube. And okay, It's a valid vault name. Cool. Next. And where should Cryptomator store the encrypted files of your vault? And we'll say custom location, and we will choose in the documents the YouTube example. So this is where it will live, is YouTube example and then encrypted, whatever it is. Okay, so it'll all live in here. So you might just start here, create your encrypted vault, and then create your Obsidian folder in there. But as you can see, it'll be very flexible, very easy to update. And enter a new password, YouTube password week. All right, YouTube password. And if you really want to do this right, use a password manager. I don't want to show you which one I'm using or actually show it to you because I don't want to have to go through and blank out parts of my screen. That just takes forever. So we'll use this horrible password just for now because I won't be storing any super secrets in here. So you won't be able to access your data without your password. Do you want a recovery key for the case in case you lose your password? Nope. No thanks. I will not lose my password because it is YouTube password. And create vault and unlock now YouTube password and unlock. There we go. And remember my choice, don't ask again, because when I unlock it, I want to look at it so we can reveal drive here. So here in YouTube example, encrypted YouTube is the one that I created for Cryptomator. So now it is this folder just has a whole bunch of random weird looking stuff in here. So this is the encrypted drive and the vault.cryptomator and masterkey.cryptomator. These are all files you need to keep in your folder because it is what Cryptomator needs to understand that this is a Cryptomator file folder that it has encrypted. So you want to keep everything here. And when I said reveal drive, it opened this other thing here. And what it does, at least on Mac right away, is that it creates an external drive for the vault that Cryptomator makes. So as we go to reveal drive, if I go up a level, it's now kind of in my root directory as encrypted YouTube. So my computer thinks it's an external drive, and that's because of Cryptomator and the way that it mounts the information to be visible. So if you go through the normal file folder and go to encrypted YouTube and try to access the data this way, all you're going to see is a bunch of wacky files that make no sense. But if you go through the external drive of encrypted YouTube, then it will all make sense. We're going to place the Obsidian Vault inside the Cryptomator folder like multi-layer inception. So check this out. So let's create a new vault and we will say encrypted Obsidian. And then location, let's go to Jonathan's, and it'll be in encrypted YouTube. Because remember, when we want to interact and write and create files and access files, we want to go through this external hard drive version, not the one that we could see from Finder, and then go to documents and YouTube example and encrypted YouTube, because again, we're only going to see all these wacky folders. We want to interact with it through this kind of external hard drive view that Cryptomator creates. So we click on encrypted YouTube, and now we'll say new folder, and we'll say encrypted Obsidian Vault, create and open. So now when we create this, we can say test file goes here. And now we can add the boilerplate, which I'm using Bacon Lipsum for this, which is my favorite thing ever, really. So what we have now is in the Finder, if, again, we go through just the normal file structure, we've just got super wacky folders that make no sense. Nobody could read them because, well, this is what encrypted looks like. But if we go through all the way to the root and then go through encrypted YouTube, well, now we can see the encrypted Obsidian vault, encrypted Obsidian, and test file goes here. So now you can see that if we add any kind of new folder or new file to this, other file, more details. Perfect. Well, let's go back to Finder and you can see other file and hey, look at that, more details. So this is how we add information to our Obsidian database, to our vault, and that is inside the encrypted environment that Cryptomator created for us. So if we want to shut all this down, we can then go to Obsidian and close it out, make sure it closes properly, and that vault is closed. And then when we go to Cryptomator, we can lock this vault, and now our external hard drive view is gone. So now we can't get an unencrypted view of what's inside our Obsidian database. And if we wanted to get that view, well, let's go back to Cryptomator, and I'll leave this open so you can kind of see it happen, because we can still access it from here, the encrypted YouTube, and it's all just gibberish here. But if we come back here and unlock and say YouTube password and unlock, boom, right over here, it popped up. And now we would be able to access all of our files and to see what's in them. And we'd be able to go to Obsidian and open the vault, which we can do here, encrypted Obsidian, and voila. We can see all of our files and we can use Obsidian how we normally do. So this is how you would get an encrypted Obsidian vault on your own computer, on your own laptop. If you didn't need this to talk to anybody else and you just wanted it to live on your hard drive and you were super paranoid about other people accessing your data, well, this is how you could store your information on your computer and have it encrypted until you're ready to use it. Because the main idea of Cryptomator is that you can encrypt your files, then use something like Google Drive to keep your files synced across devices and then decrypt them locally. But I don't want to use Google Drive and Google Drive synchronization because I just rather not use them. Even if it is encrypted, I'd just rather not have my information all the way up there. So that's why we use SyncThing. So instead of having to send our files to the Google Drive cloud and then back down, we're just going to use SyncThing's protocol to synchronize the files across our devices. So to do that, I'm going to close out this vault again and then go to Cryptomator and lock it because it's the encrypted database that we want to synchronize. And then we'll use Cryptomator on both computers to decrypt the encrypted files that are kept in sync by SyncThing. So the idea is that you go to SyncThing, and the same idea is it's available on basically everything, all sorts of Linux and Windows and Mac and FreeBSD and OpenBSD. I don't even know what some of these are. And it So it doesn't really matter. Whatever you're running, SyncThing can work with it. So I'm on Mac, so I download Mac, and I would go to my Windows machine and I would download Windows version of this. And then when you download it, it doesn't really show you much, so it can be confusing. But when I installed it, I had it install this kind of tray bar thing. So let's go ahead and open it up, and it works from your browser. So it does a local network kind of a thing. So this is easiest and most convenient to set up when you're at home on the same network, and then you can get your devices kind of talking to each other more easily. So the idea is that you can add a folder, and then what we're going to do is to say Encrypted Obsidian Vault. The folder ID, we'll just, I like to leave it as something like that. And Encrypted Obsidian Vault, we'll leave it there. Path to the folder on the local computer will be created if it does not exist. Okay. So here we have to find the actual folder dynamic. So Encrypted YouTube is the one that is the parent level. So we'll get info. And actually, it's easier for me if I go in one, then get info. And what I do is I highlight all of this, Command C, go back over to Brave browser, and voila. This is where it's going to live. And you know what, just to make it simple, Encrypted YouTube. Okay. Boop. So now we have the folder ID is this unique folder ID that's super wacky. The folder path is the path to the encrypted folder that we've made. And it says, okay, it's about 29 kilobytes because there's only 2 markdown files in there right now. Scanned about 1 hour ago, which is to say it hasn't yet. And that's about it. So then, if I wanted to add this folder, I would go to my Windows machine and get my laptop talking to my Windows machine. And then I would say, and share this folder. And it's actually, it's pretty straightforward once you get it installed and get them talking to each other, because you have your identification, and this long old thing, you could just copy it there. And from my Windows machine, it would ask for the ID of my laptop. And this is the string that it's looking for. And it's okay to share this because it's a two-way authorization kind of a thing. So think of this as your public key if you're familiar with crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, that kind of thing. So you can share this with your friends because you're not sharing anything private, no passwords. This is the thing that you would share with your friends so that they could request the share, and then you have to approve it. So it has to be approved on both sides if you do want to add your folders across devices that are yours or not. And I believe that there are 5 devices that come along with just the free, available to everybody, open source approach. So you can get 5 different devices and computers all talking to each other and sharing the same database. So now, once my Windows machine sees my Mac and my Mac sees the Windows machine, I would then be able to see these folders from my gaming rig, my Windows machine, and then I would be able to select which of these I want to synchronize on to my Windows machine. And from that point, any change I made would be updated because SyncThing keeps them in sync. And then I've got Cryptomator on my Windows machine. I've got Cryptomator here on my laptop, and SyncThing is keeping the same folder on both computers in sync. So I can make changes on my Windows machine. It updates the database gets synchronized to my laptop, and by the time I walk downstairs to here to get to my laptop, I see those files in my Obsidian database because I've used Cryptomator to decrypt the vault and then used Obsidian to open the Obsidian vault, and that's how I keep all my information on multiple computers. Now, you can also use this to keep a separate database, which you can see here. Down here is phone notes, because my Obsidian database that I use every day has something like 40, 50 gigs worth of information in there. And I don't want to keep 50 gigs on my phone. So I just keep a separate database for my phone notes. And I've got SyncThing running on my phone. And then anytime that I make, it's here on the coffee table. So anytime I make a note on my phone here, it then will have SyncThing synchronize it across the internet to my laptop here. So I can make a new note. So I've got Obsidian right here. And the note I have is the Lowe's run. I needed to get shop vac bags, a crowbar, and utility knife. So that was just my little note to myself. But if I want to write a new note, just drag down and voila, YouTube note. And now I can write YouTube note, something goes here. So when I make this note on my phone, SyncThing works in the background to synchronize it to my laptop. And then, as you can see here in the phone notes, it will update. And then I can use Obsidian to look at the notes that I've written on my phone. So if I get somebody's phone number or email or an address that I need to mail something, well, by the time I get back home, sit down and then look at my phone notes on the computer's Obsidian vault, then I see everything. So over here in Obsidian, we can go to the vault, and phone notes live right there. I don't want to open that up because this is my use it every day kind of database, but this is kind of how it works. And there you have it. That is how I got Obsidian, Cryptomator, and SyncThing all talking to each other so that my Mac laptop can talk to my Windows desktop and have the same files across both platforms. Hopefully you can try this out, give it a shot. Let me know how it goes here in the comments, or if you've tried something similar, I would love to hear from you. If you do like Obsidian and want to know more, I have an entire playlist about other topics and ideas and how to use Obsidian, or you can subscribe to the channel for future videos like this and other things about business, psychology, success, motivation, all that kind of fun stuff. And as always, I like to say, if you can change your mind, you can change your life.